My best friend stole my business idea after I confided in her during my divorce. Now she's a millionaire. I'm Rebecca, and I still remember the exact moment I told Madison everything. We were sitting in her kitchen, the one with the marble countertops she'd just renovated. I was crying so hard I could barely breathe. My husband Michael had just served me divorce papers that morning, and I had nowhere else to go. Madison handed me tissues and wine. She'd been my best friend since college, 15 years of friendship. She knew everything about me. I can't believe he's doing this, I sobbed. After everything. She rubbed my back. You're going to get through this. You're the strongest person I know. That's when I told her about my idea. The one thing that had been keeping me going through the nightmare of my marriage falling apart. I've been working on something, I said, wiping my eyes. A subscription box service, but not like the others. This one's for women going through major life transitions, divorce, job loss, empty nest. Each box is customized based on where they are emotionally, comfort items, practical resources, inspiration. I've been researching it for months. Madison's eyes lit up. Rebecca, that's brilliant. I know the market is saturated, I continued, but nothing targets this specific need. Women going through hard times don't need another beauty box. They need support, community. I even have suppliers lined up, a therapist friend who'd contribute audio sessions, a financial advisor for worksheets, local artisans for comfort items. This could really work, Madison said, leaning forward. I nodded, feeling hope for the first time in weeks. I'm calling it Phoenix Box. You know, rising from the ashes. I just need to finalize my business plan and find investors. Once the divorce is settled and I have my share of the assets, I can actually make this happen. Madison hugged me tight. I'm so proud of you for finding something positive in all this mess. I trusted her completely. That was 8 months ago. 3 months after that conversation, I saw the Instagram ad. My blood went cold as I stared at my phone screen. Rising Phoenix Boxes. For women in transition. Madison's face smiled back at me from the company bio. Founder and CEO. The description was almost word for word what I'd told her. Subscription boxes for women facing major life changes. Customized support, therapy resources, financial guidance. Even the name was barely different. I called her immediately. My hands were shaking. Rebecca, hi. She sounded cheerful. Normal. What is this? I asked. What is Rising Phoenix Boxes? A pause. Oh, you stole my idea. I didn't steal anything, Madison said, her voice cooling. You talked about a concept. I executed it. There's a difference. I told you everything. The suppliers, the target market, the entire business model. Look, Rebecca, you were in no position to launch a business. You're going through a divorce. You have no capital. I actually made it happen. I found investors, built the brand, created the infrastructure. That takes work. I couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. If it makes you feel better, she continued, you can tell people you inspired it, but legally there's nothing you can do. You didn't have a patent or trademark. It was just an idea. She hung up. I sat there in my tiny rental apartment, the one I'd moved into after Michael kept our house, staring at the phone. 15 years of friendship, gone. I wanted to scream, to throw things, to call a lawyer, but she was right about one thing. I'd just been talking. I hadn't filed anything, hadn't protected the idea. I'd trusted my best friend instead. The divorce finalized 2 months later. Michael got the house because he'd inherited money for the down payment from his parents. I got barely enough to cover first and last month's rent on my apartment and a used car. I was working as a freelance graphic designer, barely making ends meet. And every day, I saw Madison's company growing. Her Instagram following exploded. 10,000 followers, then 50,000, then 200,000. She got featured in a women's magazine. Entrepreneur Madison Chen builds million-dollar business, helping women thrive. I threw up when I read it. She hired a full team, moved into a real office space, got written up in Forbes. Meanwhile, I was eating ramen and picking up extra design work just to afford my electric bill. I unfollowed her on everything, blocked her number, but I couldn't stop checking her company's growth. It was like pressing on a bruise. 6 months after launch, Rising Phoenix Boxes was valued at $3 million. I spent a lot of nights crying. Some nights I couldn't even do that. I just felt numb. My mom called it prolonged grief. She didn't understand why I couldn't just move on. It was just a business idea, she said. I could come up with another one. But it wasn't just the idea. It was the betrayal. The person I'd trusted most in the world had looked at my pain and seen opportunity. A year passed. Then another 6 months. I was surviving. Barely. I'd picked up some regular clients for my design work. I could afford groceries without checking my bank account first. Small victories. I hadn't thought about Madison in weeks. Or at least I'd gotten better at pushing the thoughts away. Then I got an email from Amber Williams, a name I didn't recognize. Subject line: about Madison Chen and Rising Phoenix Boxes. I almost deleted it. Probably spam, but something made me open it. Dear Rebecca, you don't know me, but I need to talk to you about Madison Chen. I'm a former business partner of hers. Well, former victim is more accurate. She did to me what she did to you. I found your name in some old emails on a shared drive I still had access to before she locked me out. Please call me. I think we can help each other. A phone number was listed below. My heart was pounding. I stared at the email for 10 minutes before I called. Amber picked up on the second ring. Rebecca? Her voice was hoarse, like she'd been crying recently. Yes, I got your email. Thank you for calling. She took a shaky breath. I don't even know where to start. Start with how you know Madison. We went to business school together, Amber said, 5 years ago. We were working on a capstone project, a business plan for a sustainable clothing rental service. It was my concept, but we developed it together for class. We got an A. Our professor said it was one of the best plans she'd seen. I felt ice in my stomach. Let me guess. 6 months after graduation, Madison launched it, called it Revive Wardrobe. She cut me out completely completely. Said I'd been just a project partner, nothing more. When I threatened legal action, she had lawyers send me cease and desist letters. Said I was harassing her. Oh my God. It failed after a year. Amber continued. The market wasn't ready. She lost her investors' money and had to shut down. I thought that was karma. I thought she'd learned her lesson, but she didn't. No, she just found a better idea. Yours. We talked for 2 hours. Amber told me everything. How Madison had always been ambitious, ruthless even, but hid it well behind a friendly smile. How she'd done this before with smaller things, taking credit for group project work, stealing presentation ideas from classmates. I've been following Rising Phoenix boxes, Amber said. It's making her rich, and I can't stand it. I can't stand that she gets to keep winning by stealing from people who trusted her. What can we do? I asked. She's right that we didn't protect our ideas legally. Maybe not legally, Amber said slowly. But the court of public opinion is different. People care about stories, about ethics, about knowing who they're supporting with their money. You want to expose her. I want people to know the truth, don't you? I thought about it. About Madison's smiling face on Instagram. All those followers who thought she was some kind of inspiration. All those women buying her boxes, not knowing they were built on betrayal. Yes, I said. I do. We started digging. Amber was good at research. Really good. She found 3 other women over the next few weeks. All had similar stories about Madison. There was Jessica, who'd shared a marketing strategy for a nonprofit with Madison during a networking event. Madison later used that exact strategy for her own consulting side business. There was Kimberly, who'd collaborated with Madison on a podcast concept during a workshop. Madison launched the podcast alone 3 months later. There was Lauren, who told Madison about a gap in the market for eco-friendly office supplies. Madison had pitched that exact concept to investors, using Lauren's research, and got $50,000 in funding before the idea fell through. None of them had legal recourse. All of them were angry, hurt. Some had given up on their own dreams because Madison had poisoned the well first. We created a document, a timeline, screenshots of emails and messages where we could prove we'd shared ideas with Madison before she launched them. Then we made a video, all 5 of us, sitting together, telling our stories. Calm, clear, no dramatics, just facts. This isn't about revenge, I said into the camera. This is about transparency, about letting Madison's customers and investors know who they're really supporting. We posted it on YouTube, sent it to business journalists, tagged Rising Phoenix boxes on every social platform, and we waited. The first day, nothing happened. A few hundred views, some supportive comments. The second day, it started picking up. 1,000 views, then 5,000. By day 3, it was everywhere. A journalist from a major business publication called me. We're running a story on this. Would you be willing to go on record? I said yes. The article ran the next morning. Rising Phoenix Box's founder accused of repeated idea theft by former friends and colleagues. Madison's Instagram comments section exploded. People were furious. They felt betrayed. They started demanding refunds, canceling subscriptions. Madison posted a response. These allegations are false and defamatory. I've built this company through hard work and dedication. I won't be torn down by jealous people who couldn't execute their own visions. That made it worse. The jealous comment made people even angrier. More publications picked up the story. Madison's investors started asking questions. Her board called an emergency meeting. I watched it all unfold from my small apartment, feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Not quite happiness, but something close to it. Vindication, maybe. 2 weeks after we posted the video, Madison stepped down as CEO to focus on personal matters and address these concerns. The company's statement read, Rising Phoenix Box's valuation dropped by 40%. Some of her followers stayed loyal, but most didn't. Her Instagram went from 800,000 followers to 200,000 in a month. The company struggled. They hired a new CEO, tried to rebrand, but the damage was done. The entire foundation of the inspiring entrepreneur story had crumbled. I got a message from Madison a month later. Just 2 words. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. 3 months later, Rising Phoenix Boxes shut down completely. They couldn't recover from the PR disaster. Investors pulled out. The subscription numbers never bounced back. I should have felt triumphant, and part of me did. But mostly I just felt tired. Amber called me one evening. There's something else, she said. What? I got contacted by a venture capital firm. They read about what happened. They want to fund your original Phoenix Box idea. The real one. They said the concept is still solid. The market is still there. They asked if you'd be interested in launching it properly. I almost dropped the phone. They're offering $200,000 in seed funding. Amber continued. And they want me to come on as COO. If you're interested. They said they want to back the original visionaries, not the thief. I couldn't speak for a minute. Rebecca, you there? Yeah, I managed. I'm here. So what do you think? I looked around my tiny apartment, at the stack of bills on my counter, at my laptop where I'd been working on yet another freelance logo design. When can we start? I said. We launched Phoenix Box. We kept my original name. 6 months later, the press loved the story. Betrayed entrepreneur gets second chance. Launches stolen idea the right way. We were transparent from the beginning. We shared my original business plan publicly. We gave credit to every supplier, every therapist, every person who contributed. We built it on ethics and honesty, everything Madison's version hadn't been. Our first month, we had 500 subscribers. Second month, 2,000. By month 6, we had 15,000 subscribers and were profitable. The women who bought from us knew the whole story. They wanted to support us because of it, not despite it. We became more than a subscription box. We became a community of women who'd been through hard things and came out stronger. However, a year after launch, we got acquired by a larger wellness company for $8 million. I paid off all my debts, bought a small house, put money away for the future. But the best moment wasn't the acquisition announcement or the check clearing. It was 3 months after we'd launched. I was at a coffee shop, working on packaging designs for our next box, when someone tapped my shoulder. I looked up. Madison stood there. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her clothes weren't designer anymore. "Can I sit?" she asked quietly. I nodded. She sat down across from me. Didn't say anything for a minute. "I saw your company's doing well," she finally said. "It is. I'm working in marketing now, for someone else. Entry level." I didn't respond. "I lost everything," Madison said. "My reputation, my money, most of my friends." "Okay." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I know I don't deserve it. I just wanted you to know that I understand now. What I took from you wasn't just an idea. It was your hope, your fresh start. And I'm sorry. I'm really, truly sorry." I studied her face, looked for signs of manipulation, of a scheme, but all I saw was genuine regret. "I appreciate you saying that," I said finally, "but sorry doesn't give me back the 2 years I spent struggling. It doesn't undo the betrayal. I know. You destroyed our friendship for money, and you didn't even get to keep it." Madison nodded, tears spilling over. "I know. I think about that every day." She stood up. "I won't bother you again. I just needed to say it in person." I watched her walk out of the coffee shop. A part of me felt satisfaction. She'd lost everything while I'd won, but another part felt sad. Sad for the friendship that had been real once, before ambition poisoned it. Sad for the person she could have been if she'd chosen differently. I went back to my work. I had a business to run, a team depending on me, thousands of women counting on Phoenix Box to be there during their hardest moments. That evening, Amber called. "We just hit 20,000 subscribers," she said, excitement in her voice. "That's incredible. You know what's even better? I got an email from a woman today. She's going through a divorce. She said our box literally saved her life, that she'd been in a really dark place, and our resources helped her find a therapist and a support group." I felt tears prick my eyes. "That's what it's all about." "Yeah," Amber said softly. "We're actually helping people. The right way." After we hung up, I poured myself a glass of wine and sat on my back porch, the one overlooking a small garden I'd started planting. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. It was Madison. "I know I said I wouldn't bother you again, but I needed to tell you something else. When I took your idea, I convinced myself I was doing you a favor, that you couldn't handle running a business during your divorce, that I was the only one who could make it work. I actually believed I deserved it more than you did. How messed up is that? I just wanted you to know that I see it clearly now. You were always the strong one. I was just better at pretending." I read it 3 times. Then I typed back, "I hope you find your own idea someday, one that's actually yours." I didn't block her number. I just put my phone away. A year later, Phoenix Box expanded internationally. We launched in Canada and the UK. We hired 50 employees. We partnered with mental health organizations and women's shelters. I got invited to speak at a Women in Business conference. As I stood backstage waiting to go on, I thought about that night in Madison's kitchen, when I'd been at my lowest point, barely holding it together, and I'd shared my dream with someone I thought would protect it. She'd stolen it. But in a weird way, she'd also proven it was worth stealing. The idea was good. It mattered. It helped people. And now it was mine again. Bigger and better than I'd originally imagined. The host called my name. I walked out onto the stage to applause. "Tell us," the interviewer said. "What's the key to your success?" I smiled. "Resilience. And knowing that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's building something so good, so ethical, so true to your values, that the truth becomes undeniable." The audience clapped. But I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking about the woman I'd been 2 years ago, crying in that kitchen, broken and lost. I wanted to tell her, "You're going to make it. You're going to build something beautiful. And it's going to mean even more, because of how hard you fought for it." After the conference, I checked my business email. There was a message from a woman named Olivia. She was going through a divorce and had just received her first Phoenix Box. "I don't know if you'll read this," she wrote, "but I wanted to thank you. I was in the darkest place I've ever been. I felt like I'd lost everything. Then your box arrived. The journal, the resources, the little note that said you're not alone. It sounds dramatic, but it genuinely gave me hope. Thank you for creating this. Thank you for understanding." I read it twice, then started typing a response, because that's what it was all about. Not the money, not the vindication, not even the poetic justice of Madison losing everything while I won. It was about this. These messages. These women finding hope in their darkest moments. Madison had stolen my idea, but she couldn't steal my purpose. She couldn't steal my ability to care about the people we served. She couldn't steal the authenticity that came from actually living through the pain I was trying to help others survive. And in the end, that's why Phoenix Box succeeded when rising Phoenix Boxes failed. People can sense real from fake. They can tell when someone genuinely cares versus when someone just sees them as dollar signs. I closed my laptop and looked out at the city skyline from my office window. The sun was setting, painting everything gold. My phone buzzed one more time. Another unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me look. "This is Madison. I know I don't have the right to ask, but I wanted you to know I just started working with a nonprofit, helping women entrepreneurs protect their intellectual property, making sure what happened to you doesn't happen to others. It doesn't undo anything, but maybe it helps. I don't expect you to respond. I just thought you should know." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I put my phone in my drawer and went home. Some stories don't need a neat ending. Some betrayals don't need forgiveness to be resolved. Sometimes winning is enough, and sometimes winning means building something so true, so needed, so aligned with who you really are, that nothing feeling and no one can take it away. Not even your former best friend, especially not her. I went home to my house, made dinner, called my mom to tell her about the conference. I'm proud of you, sweetheart, she said. Thanks, Mom. You know what I'm most proud of? What? That you didn't let what Madison did destroy you. You could have. You could have given up, but you didn't. After we hung up, I sat in my living room, the one with the couch I'd picked out myself, the walls I'd painted, the life I'd built from nothing. Madison was somewhere out there, trying to rebuild her reputation, trying to live with what she'd done, and I was here, in my home, running my company, helping women every single day. The universe has a funny way of working things out, not always in the timeline we want, not always in the way we expect, but eventually the truth comes out. Eventually, authenticity wins over theft. Eventually, people who build things on lies find themselves with nothing to stand on. I learned a lot from what Madison did to me. I learned that trust is precious, that not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart, that success built on someone else's pain is hollow. But I also learned that I was stronger than I thought, that I could survive betrayal and come back better, that my ideas were valuable enough to steal, which meant they were valuable enough to protect and execute myself. Phoenix Box is worth $12 million now. I'm not a millionaire from it, not quite, but I'm comfortable, secure, happy, and every day I get to help women find their way through the darkness. Women like I was, women like Olivia, women who feel broken and lost, and like they'll never be whole again. I get to show them they will be, that they are, that rising from the ashes isn't just possible, it's inevitable if you refuse to stay down. Madison taught me that lesson, though not in the way she intended. She thought stealing my idea would make her a success. Instead, she gave me the fuel I needed to become one. And that's the real ending to this story. Not her downfall, not her apology, not even her current attempts at redemption, but me sitting here, in the life I built from nothing, knowing that everything I have I earned, knowing that the people I help genuinely, knowing that when I look in the mirror, I see someone who stayed true to herself even when it would have been easier to become bitter and vengeful. I won, not because Madison lost, but because I refused to let her betrayal define me, and that's worth more than any amount of money could ever be.